Yes.
Great. Okay. Coach, not so great for the squad. What are some of the things that you think we came short of and things that we need to improve going to Harare?
Yeah, so obviously having them 6 down for 80 on day one, we needed to be ruthless there, and we let them off the hook, with some, let's be honest, ill-disciplined, poor bowling from the backup seamers in that moment, and that let them get away from us and put what is a decent total on the board. I still would have taken 260 given the conditions, but we could have restricted them to a lot more had we been a lot more disciplined with the ball. So that would be area number one. Then in our first innings with the bat, we need to, regardless of whether they've scored 260 or 150, we need to go and put up a big score, a 350, 400 plus score there, given the conditions. The conditions are good for batting, and basically that's essentially where we dropped the ball. We should have had at least a 100-run lead going into day three, or during day three.
Still coming in from last evening, it was a good chance, fairly good chance to catch up. What could have happened this morning?
Yeah, look, I think, if you sort of 7 down going into day 5, needing over 100, it's always going to be a challenge to get that, and things need to go right. Key was for Wesley, obviously, to be there at the end. I think if Newman had put on 30 with Wes, then it's a 60-run partnership. Richie comes in, gets another 30 while Wesley's still there. Then all of a sudden you're on the target. That's 120. So, but a lot had to go right for that. We're asking the tail to do what the top order should have done. At the end of the day, it's not the tail's responsibility. The top order responsibility is to go and get the majority of the runs, which they didn't do.
Yes, did.
Justin, you spent a bit of time now with the team. I wonder how much mental scarring Zimbabwe have. In other words, the mental aptitude. Is that something surely that you would work on as well? So not necessarily a few technical deficiencies, but when they do get themselves into strong positions, the psychological advantage seems to get the better of them. Would you agree with that?
It certainly is a bit of a trend at the moment. So we do find ourselves in strong positions. I can take us back to the test against Ireland in Ireland. We were in a good position in that test and weren't able to sort of capitalize on that. We've then gone 1-0 up in most of the series we've played. We were 1-0 up against India in that T20 series. We were 1-0 up in the ODI series against Pakistan. We were 1-0 up against Afghanistan in the T20 series. We had opportunities to win that in the third T20. We were in strong positions against Afghanistan in that second test where the scores were level and they were 5 down, So, and again, we have them 5 down for not many on the board. So there's definitely a trend within that. So you're spot on. We seem to really fight when the chips are against us, but when we're on top, that's where we're not being ruthless enough. So, it'll be a combination, obviously, of sort of that mental side of things, along with the technique and execution of certain skills in those moments. But certainly that is something that we've got to address. When we're on top, we need to be more ruthless, and we need to have that desire, and then the skill coupled to do it, obviously.
So, as a follow-up to that, what would you say mental preparedness of the guys, the psychological effect of what is happening? You're saying that when we win, we seem to relax, but when the chips are down, that's when we come. What could be, is that a psychological thing or just a mental thing?
Yeah, look, I mean, we'll obviously try and address it. It's difficult to pinpoint, to be honest, at this point in time. Definitely, the more skillful we get, the more we can trust those skills in those situations, and we'll find ourselves coming out on top. Again, though, it is experience. So if you look at the team, there's not much experience within this team. So the more they're in those situations, hopefully the more they'll actually learn how to close them off or close them out. It is a very young group at the end of the day in terms of experience. And that does come with playing. That's where you learn, okay, next time we're in a situation, we need to be doing this better. This is what we did previously. So let's improve on that. So again, it does come with actually being there. And that is the positive. Again, what ZC has done is they've put a lot of cricket on the cards for the team, which is brilliant. The results aren't going our way now, and I can tell you now, everyone in that change room is hurting. I'm hurting. We know we need to be better. But I also believe that we are on the right track, and results will come. And hopefully they come in key moments as well, in key competitions.
Coach, a lot of individual play. Nick and Zalabani in the best outing this time around. Wesley, what's the hold up in knitting it together to have a whole consistent? Because I think the whole loss and the logic is in the consistency in every other player pulling the weight. What's the miss out?
So there you go. You said it's in every other player. So I think you can see when the team, like you can see the way they pull together on the field. You know, you can see them getting behind each other in the change room. I think the team dynamic is really good. You can see they're fighting for each other, but it's just about that individual now. So we've had one or two individuals, but we need more individuals putting their hands up at the end of the day, because that's what it is. It's bat versus ball. You know, if you're bowling, I'm batting, it's me versus you. Okay, so it's my skill versus your skill, and that's where we need to get better. Just that individual, one, skill aspect, and two, that real desire to say, I'm not happy with a 30, I want to go and get 150.
As a follow-up, are you saying you need the one or two? Are they within the squad, or you think from outside the squad you need to bring in one or two people to come and stay at the back ball?
No, I definitely think they're within the squad, but competition for place is good and it's important. So the more guys that are putting their hands up domestically, the better. You know, because like I say, competition for place is important, but we're definitely within the squad. You know, we've got, or definitely with the greater group of players that we've worked with over the last sort of 6 months. The ability is there. It's just about continually striving to improve, to get that extra 10% from player A, from player B, from player C. But they're all wanting to do that. They're all striving for that.
Coach, just looking at the makeup of the side, 3 key names were missing in there: Craig Irvine, Sean Williams, and then Sikandar Raza. Then going in with an inexperienced captain on debut, did you think that you were just a little bit short of very crucial experience? This is a side that had a top order of about 6 players that have played consistently.
Yeah, it definitely makes a difference, and we need to bear that in mind. Is that an excuse? No. You know, at the end of the day, it's not an excuse. No matter who's out there, if they're on the field, we believe they deserve to be on the field, and they need to get the job done. So it's not an excuse, but like I say, it is also a reality, and that experience does count for something. I think the difference, I stand to be corrected, but the difference in international games, so that includes T20 internationals, ODIs, and tests, between the two 11s. So the Zimbabwe 11 versus Ireland 11 is around about 1,000 games more from the Irish side in international cricket. So even though it's not test cricket, it's still international cricket, it's still dealing with international pressures. So that does hold you in good stead when you face certain circumstances and situations. And that's why it is good that these guys are in that position. It would have been better if we got over the line, but they can still take a lot from it, most definitely. But yeah, it plays its part.
Following up to that, looking at some of the individual performances, here trying to pick out the positives that we may take from this match. Largely, Mzarabani would stand out, Wesley would stand out as well. What do you make of Wesley, considering his story from where he came from in the past 2 seasons and the domestic season that he's had with his performance?
I'm extremely pleased for Wesley. You know, it was a tough situation for him, sort of driving in on the day of the test, having to come in. You know, when he stepped out in the first innings, the way he went about his business, he just looked completely like he belonged, you know. And we know he does belong, we know he's good enough. But to actually see that come to the fore was brilliant. And then with the ball, he had a lot of value with the ball. I think he bowled brilliantly, he had good control, and he's clever, you know. So that was pleasing actually to see what he can give us with the ball, because that can definitely play a part for us as a team in all formats going forward. And hopefully gains confidence from that aspect. And then obviously in this last innings, he was brilliant the way we managed his innings. He looked calm. His tempo at the crease was brilliant. So huge positive for Wes, because it is about belief, and hopefully that gives him a real belief that this is his stage, you know, that this is his stage now to own. So I'm very pleased around that. Yeah.
And lastly, on selection side, knowing that the Bulawayo wicket is the one that favors spinners, what's the mindset of going out without a proper frontline spinner on this occasion?
So if we take it back, so if we won the toss, we would have bowled, all right? they obviously chose to bat. They were 80 for 6 through our seamers. Unfortunately, the backup seamers didn't quite follow in the way we wanted them to, but we still then bowled them out 300 or under 300 on what was a good batting wicket. So our thought is those 4 seamers was our best chance to get 20 wickets in these conditions. We weren't really expecting it to turn as much as it did, having the chats with the groundsman, but I think it was a good wicket nevertheless. It should be turning day 4 and day 5 in Test cricket, but our thought process was our best chance to get 20 wickets is with those 4 seamers, and those backup seamers bowled extremely well in the second innings. So they took the lessons, which again comes from experience. They learned from that first innings. When we came back, they were brilliant. Trevor Gwandu came back, showed brilliant character. You know, we feel Newman is a wicket taker. He didn't get as many overs, but they showed their worth in a sense. And the backup, the sort of, if you want to call it, part-time spinners did a good job for us. If we look back to Afghanistan, when you played like a frontline spinner, it didn't really yield wickets for us. So that's essentially was the thinking behind that was our best chance for 20 wickets, and it got us to 20 wickets. And had we batted better in the first innings or batted like we should, we would have won the game. You know, so it's always obviously in hindsight easy to look, but I still think it was the right decision because given our batters doing the job, we're winning that game. Yeah.
Coach, again, we come back to selection. You spoke about the pickup Sammons not doing a good job after we had them on the roads. So, looking at the experience that you've got in the changing room, you've got Victor Nyawuchi, all the experience, the second 5 per year against the West Indies, and you continue to overlook him. So, and then it was there to see that your backup Sammons are inexperienced. So, by not getting into the game with the best experience, and we ended up conceding those runs, and then the way the difference between a win or a lose for Zimbabwe.
So again, you look at those guys; they bowled well for us in the past. So it's I don't think you can look at it in that way. They've done the job. Trevor's come in and he's done the job. Newman showed his worth, you know. And they're different types of bowlers, all right? Very different types of bowlers. Again, it's around what we feel is going to give us the best chance for 20 wickets, and that's what we felt was going to give us the best chance. Hindsight is always a wonderful thing. We know sometimes we're going to get it wrong. That's just the nature of the game. But those were the 4 that we thought were going to give us the best chance. And again, we got those 20. Yes, there's errors that we made, and hopefully the learnings are taken. Victor's been extremely impressive, and I think it is tough on him, but he's been good. He's been brilliant in the team. I think he's rising to the challenge now. You can see him putting the extra effort in, going the extra mile in terms of the prep. So very pleased with sort of the way he's gone about his business, having been left out, because nobody wants to be left out either. So yeah.
So, but then we accept that when you say with inexperience, when you've left the experience that you have in the changing room, so going with inexperience, but you've got someone who's experienced in the changing room.
Experience in domestic cricket.
Even international level, he's played.
It's not. It's experience, but we're not talking like high level experience. So, what's your question?
My question, so you went with Nyamuri, he's got 2 tests, and then you've got Van who's got 2 tests, and then you've got Victor who's played more. So one of the excuses that you guys gave was that we were
not an excuse.
An experienced side.
No.
But you've lived experience in the changing room.
No, it's not an excuse. That's what I said. I said it's not an excuse. The fact that we don't have experience in this team is no excuse for us not winning the game. We still pick the guys who we think can win the game. So it's not an excuse. We weren't good enough. There's no excuses. Okay? All right? And there's learning within that group. All right? So yes, we lacked experience, but this gives them experience. These situations give them experience, because what did they do in the second innings? They came back and they were better. They showed character. That's what we're wanting. We want improvement. And as I say, hindsight is a wonderful thing. You know? If we had played the spinner, who knows? He might have taken 10 wickets. Different story. You know? If we had played Joylord, for example, who knows? Maybe he would have got 100. We don't know. Okay, it's just one of those things. We don't know how Vic would have gone. I'm sure he would have bowled well because he's bowling well, but we don't know. Other guys have also been bowling well, and that's why we picked him, because we thought they were our best chance for 20 wickets. So we can't go back now and that. It's not an excuse. We weren't good enough. But we picked the team that we thought was going to give us our best chance to win the game. And that's as simple as it is.
Right, on that note, we come to the end of this press. Thank you very much.